certainly that recognition of the need is something that we see all around us. So it's always helpful to use this recollection to stimulate our response to that need to the best of our ability by touching our hearts with love so that we may give. So our purpose each week in these webinars is to introduce the work of triangles to people who are new to it and to aid them in the forming of triangles. And so if you'd like more information, you can put your name in the chat box or go to our website, triangles.org, and you'll find a lot of information there. We also have a Facebook page, Triangles Meditation Group, where you can find people who are interested in forming triangles or reach out to others. And you can also reach out on this webinar through the chat box. And we also provide this platform for people who are already members of Triangles to work each week in a meditative visualization to support and strengthen this planetary service. And just to clarify, as we have been doing, that the meditation that we use each week here is not intended to be the daily Triangles meditation. And that is reflected in a document that Lucis Trust has produced, which we'll post in the chat box, how to do the work. And of course, that's a suggestion, and probably each Triangles member works somewhat differently with their own unique visualization and aspiration. So this is just, again, another suggestion. So the work of triangles is a daily practice, as we said, a visualization technique using the power of thought and prayer, and its intention is planetary service. Although individuals, of course, can be changed and uplifted through their use of triangles and through their use of the Great Invocation, essentially, it's not about our individual transformation so much as our individual transformation contributes to the collective transformation of humanity. So it's a planetary service. And we all know that our planet, and particularly humanity, needs help in making it through the difficult and challenging period through which we're passing. So more triangles are needed, more daily application by ourselves to this planetary service so that we can become a sacred planet, which is a long-term goal, and which simply means that our planet, instead of being surrounded by a network of squares at the level of the etheric body of the planet, will be transformed through the work of triangles and through the work of all those who work within the heart center of the new group of world servers. Together, we can transform our etheric grid, our energy body, into a network of triangles which are reflective of the soul. So a sacred planet is surrounded by a triangular network because it is a planet that is embracing its higher spiritual possibilities, reflecting its soul. And our planet, we're told, has already made that grade inwardly and subjectively. But as we know in our own lives, subjective transformations can take a number of years or lifetimes to work out on the physical plane, and even more so in the case of a planet. So we're working towards that goal, and we're assured that we will reach it, and all the work of triangles aids in that process. So this work need only take a few minutes each day, and it can therefore be fit into even the busiest of schedules. And after our meditation today, we have the opportunity, and we're very happy to invite two Triangles members, Carly Way and Sunny Koshi. And they'll be sharing on the value of triangles in their lives and as they see it working out in the world. Carly is a professor of sociology, psychology, and communication at Yavapai College in Arizona. And she loves through her work to find creative ways to infuse esoteric teachings in her courses. And Sunny Koshi has served in many fields of business, music, fashion, art, and education. She most recently served young children in the field of education for 29 years as a Montessori school as an administrator of programs and a member of the leadership team. She became a student of the Christ life and teachings as a young child, and then during the 1980s became a lifelong student of the Tibetan's ageless wisdom teachings. So I look forward to hearing from both of you. And just a couple of announcements about upcoming events from Lucis Trust. This Thursday, we'll be having the New Moon Meditation, which is a powerful one, following upon the most recent Wesak Festival and bridging towards the third of the three spiritual festivals, the Gemini full moon, the Christ Festival, World Invocation Day, the Festival of Humanity. It has numerous names being under that sign of Gemini. And then at the end of the month, we have the Geneva Arcane School Conference, which is Saturday and Sunday, May 27th and 28th. And then the following weekend, we have the culminating festival conference of the Arcane School, which will be the London conference, which will take place on June 2nd to 3rd, and which will incorporate the Gemini full moon within the conference, which is always nice. So now let's work together in a brief visualization, visualizing the planet as a sphere of lighted energy. And visualize that sphere in the center of it, a triangle. The triangle of the three planetary centers. Shambhala, the head center, the hierarchy, the heart, and humanity, the throat center. Visualize the circulation of energies between these three planetary centers flowing in all directions around the triangle, merging and blending the 3 points through the medium of the world teacher, who stands as the center point, represented by a 5-pointed indigo star. This teacher links east and west, past and future, radiating the energy of love wisdom. Now visualize these 3 spheres coming into alignment and forming one sphere. This is the sphere of the new group of world servers. And visualize this sphere full of unlimited points of light, representing the multitude of groups and individuals working along all lines of endeavor. And from the center of this sphere, look down upon all the light and aspiration on the planet and breathe in and visualize that light being projected as a rainbow bridge towards the spiritual hierarchy. And breathe in and see the energies pouring down through the new group and released through the entire planetary network of individuals and groups working within alignment with the new group of world servers and the spiritual hierarchy. Visualize these energies circulating, releasing light and love to all parts of the planetary network. See the planet as a sacred planet. And distribute the energies through the 5 planetary inlets within the etheric body. London, Darjeeling, New York, Geneva, Tokyo. And we project a line of lighter energy towards the hierarchy and sound the mantra. Radiance we are and power. We stand forever with our hands stretched out, linking the heavens and the earth, the inner world of meaning and the subtle world of glamour. We reach into the light and bring it down to meet the need. We reach into the silent place and bring from thence the gift of understanding. Thus with the light we work and turn the darkness into day. Om. So we said we were going to focus and share a few thoughts today on the value of triangles. And this value perhaps becomes more apparent during this higher interlude period of the annual cycle, when we're all focused on the opportunity of this time. And we look at this period in a very triangular way. So it brings home to us the fact that this science of triangles underlies all aspects of life as we know it, not only in our own individual lives and in the life of humanity and the planet and the solar system, but this triangular interrelationship extends all the way up to the great lives that overshadow all things. And of course, this higher interlude period is one such potent triangle. It's reflected in the energies and planetary and constellational energies that are available through the signs which govern this period. The sign of Aries, which we relate, we're told, to the spiritual hierarchy. The sign of Taurus, which we're told relates and highlights the planetary center of Shambhala, the highest spiritual center. And then we approach the final and culminating center through the sign of Aries, wherein the energies work out and are highlighted through the Christ, but also through humanity, representing the fact that increasingly there is a merging and blending between the God-man, the Christ, who was the first, often described as the first flower on the human tree, the first of our planetary humanity that achieved the goal of enlightenment. So he always stands with his brothers and is part of both kingdoms, bridging both kingdoms, as is the spiritual hierarchy as a whole. So there's a great bridging going on between hierarchy and humanity at this time. But most importantly, it seems, according to the Tibetan teachings, is the much more recent bridging that's being effected between all three kingdoms. So humanity, we're told, is now becoming receptive without the intermediary of the spiritual hierarchy, receptive to the center where the will of God is known, the highest center. And we're working towards, in the not too distant future, a three-way interrelationship between all three kingdoms. And this has never happened before in the life of our system. But curiously enough, the Tibetan does seem to indicate that this three-way interrelationship will be temporary, perhaps because he doesn't really say why, but perhaps because it's most needed at this time, but perhaps because as we move forward, there will be, at a distant time, only two kingdoms in nature. For the hierarchy will merge with the highest center, and then humanity will become increasingly soul infused. And so there will be this symbol of alignment in our planetary centers instead of a triangle, a circle with a vertical line. So that's in the distant future, and we're not yet at that point where the three planetary centers are fully interrelated and interchanging their energies one with the other. But that is one of the key factors underlying this time. And it's being represented, of course, by the Shambhala impacts, which have grown in magnitude and which have been responsible primarily for this ability of humanity to respond and become responsive to the spiritual will. And there's an interesting point that I had just read in Esoteric Astrology in the book. And the Tibetan mentions that at the end of this century, we would be given 12 meditations that would be reflective of the 12 signs of the zodiac. And that these meditations, he said, would serve to brighten the web of life. And so as far as I know, we have not been given those meditations. There were certain meditations that were given out, but they seemed more related to the individual. These were given out by the Tibetan and Alice Bailey's day, and these are contained in a document called the Zodiacal Meditations. But it seems that these zodiacal meditations that he's speaking of either failed to precipitate or are being used by those who work within the context of the new group of world servers, but do so from behind the scenes. And so I do think, however, that we are capable as a group and that we are increasingly working in our way with these zodiacal meditations, with a meditative alignment each month that takes into consideration the overshadowing extra zodiacal constellations, the 12 constellations of our zodiac, the energy of our sun, which acts as a mediator of these energies. And before that, I should have said focalized through the most predominant star in each constellation, then through the sun, then through the planetary rulers, and then into our planetary life through the different kingdoms in nature. So that's perhaps something we can pay more attention to. It would seem that in each triplicity of the segments of our zodiacal constellation, for example, now we're in the Aries, Taurus, and Gemini cycle, the zodiac could be divided into 4 such points, reflective of the in-breathing, the pause, the out-breathing, and the pause, each contained within a unit of these 3 signs, which are reflective of the 3 different crosses and their overshadowing influences. And I think as we begin to work in this way, we become more scientific in our approach to the full moon work. And that's the gift of the esoteric community, because so often the astrological community focuses mainly on the aspects of each lunation and what these aspects can mean for us. But the esoteric group looks at the zodiacal meditation as a way of attuning ourselves to these overshadowing energies and using them to the extent that we can, to use that phrase that the Tibetan gave, to brighten the web of life. So those are just a few thoughts on the value of the triangles work. So now we'll go into a meditation. We integrate ourselves as a group, focusing on the mental plane in the center of the evened arm cross. Linking together as a soul, as points of love and light, linking with all people throughout the world who are working with this Triangles meditation group. We project a line of lighted energy towards the spiritual hierarchy and sound together the affirmation of love. In the center of all love, I stand. From that center, I, the soul, will outward move. From that center, I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group, and throughout the world. Using the creative imagination, link with 2 other points of light to create a triangle of light. And now visualize the triangle in which you are working as an essential part of the radiant worldwide triangles network. Hold the consciousness immersed within the light of the group soul, the heart of love that underlies and infuses the entire network. And now reach into the spiritual hierarchy, into the world teacher who stands at the heart of love and as the heart of each triangle. Now visualize the line of light extending from the hierarchy to the group of triangles workers, group soul, to the outer network, and into all triangles workers. We hold the group mind open and receptive to the imploring energies of love. Precipitation. Visualize the energies of love, light, and goodwill circulating in and around the triangle's network, from point to point, and flowing out through the network into the hearts and minds of people everywhere. Visualize these energies unifying and eliminating all divisions within humanity, healing and transforming human consciousness, and establishing right human relationships. Project a line of lighted energy towards the spiritual hierarchy and sound together the mantra of unification. The sons of men are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of life and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. Visualize the whole planet alight with triangles. See new triangles being formed everywhere. Distribution. Sounding the great invocation silently or aloud. And as we repeat each stanza, let's visualize the network acting as a link between the world of spiritual realities and humanity, as a channel through which light and love and divine purpose may flow into human consciousness. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you. So now, Carly, can you unmute your mic and share your screen?
Yes, happy to do so. Hi, everyone. I have a few caveats before I get started. The first one is I have a very wordy PowerPoint, and I know that that violates all rules. This is like death by PowerPoint, but I have a PDF file that I've saved, and I think it will be shared in the chat. So I'm going to go through a couple of things. I'm really trying to aim for clarity. I have 5 minutes, so that is my challenge. And when I thought about this topic on the value of triangles, I was really thinking about how I try to lay the groundwork really with my students in practicing triangles with their work. So I'm going to share a project. I just finished grading, its finals week. So I graded my last one this morning. I asked a couple of my students if I could share theirs because I thought they really demonstrated how we can externalize the idea of triangles and promoting goodwill. So with their ideas. So I'll explain that in a moment. My topics, I wanted to give first a little review on triangles work. I don't know how many of you are brand new to triangles, but I wanted to just copy paste a few frequently asked questions and then tell you where to find the information. And then my focus, what has really been showing up for me in meditation and also in life, the law of correspondences with triangles. So I've got a few things to share on that. And then externalizing the concept of triangles for social change. As I mentioned, I teach sociology, and my doctorate's actually in soc, but I also teach psych and communication, and that shows up as well. So this is just from the Lucis Trust website. There's a really wonderful section if you haven't seen it. There's so much great literature on the website, but what is triangles? Why a triangle? Why a network? And like I said, this is all, this should be saved to the chat. So if you want to pour over this a little bit later, you can. But for those of you who are new, a little bit of an introduction. And then I highlighted on this, I really thought these points were really great too. How does the network increase in quantity and quality? The magnetic and radiant potency of the triangles network depends upon our contributions, each triangle's contributions to the whole. And that's another theme I wanted to focus on, the micro connected to the macro, and it's all really one. And then this last point, is it a religious movement? I don't know, but this is the point I wanted to highlight. It's an act of service to humanity. Triangles work is. You can be of any background, or you can, all faiths, no faith. It's really about goodwill. And we contribute in a spirit of cooperation, selfless service to stimulate, increase the flow of light and goodwill all over the world. So hopefully that theme will come through in what I'm sharing. Now, here, I have to move my little bar here, the law of correspondences. So this is a theme, like I said, that has been showing up for me in my meditation and just in life, musings on everyday life. And for those of you, you're probably familiar with these: as above, so below, as is the inner, so is the outer, as is the great, so is the small, but there's but one life and law. And it's really about understanding that flow, I think, and how we may focus sometimes on one aspect, the inner, and not realize the reflection in the outer of what's happening in our inner world. And then also, I just love the as above, so below, in that there are often deeper meanings, and it takes a while for us to understand them. We might understand what's happening in the material world first, the physical world, what's happening in the weeds of daily life, and then realize the higher correspondence is a little bit later. That's my experience anyway. So moving on. Come on, PowerPoint. This is another verbose slide, but I wanted to show you where I got this from the Letters on Occult Meditation. This first one is page 219, and then 225, 26, just about the triangles and the higher and lower understanding of manifestation of triangles, how we think of it, the cosmic triangle, and then, of course, what a lot of us are familiar with in the triangles meditation: love, light, will, activity, or power, wisdom, and then, of course, the process of appearing, and then the three worlds of the personality: physical, mental, and astral. So connecting this to the law of correspondences, I really loved this that I copied from the Lucis Trust website on the triangles section, the objectives of triangles. And I highlighted a few here: to establish right human relations, spread goodwill and understanding, light, again, that theme, to strengthen and support the work of men and women of goodwill in the world. And that really is where it shows up for me with my students. I have wonderful students, and it's just really trying to connect with that goodwill that's within them. And then this last one: provide a reservoir of thought and inspire practical and constructive action on behalf of humanity. Now, how do I externalize this? There's a class that I just finished. It's a sociology class. It's a little bit more advanced, and it's called Social Problems. Big fun, you can probably imagine. But what I try to do is get my students to focus on solutions. And the class that I just finished teaching is a really unique one, because the vast majority of my students, this is the fourth class that they took with me this year. It's like their capstone class, and many of them work in an integrative healthcare facility, integrated healthcare. So some of them are crisis responders, some of them are on the front lines. Some of them are working in the call center. Some of them work on suicide hotlines. So they're really gaining an understanding of issues in our community. And the interesting thing about this organization, they actually, this integrative healthcare organization, they're in Maricopa County, which is where Phoenix is located. So this first student, I assigned their final project as it's called Be the Change You Wish to See. So I wanted them to highlight a problem that they see. And the amazing thing about this is that often I have really no awareness of this because I'm not on the front lines like they are. And so I want them to identify an issue and come up with a solution for that. That is the project. And both of these students gave me permission to share today. So I wanted to highlight a few things. This student was talking about the homeless population in Phoenix. And that's a huge issue in the news right now. I think there are a few of you from Arizona, you might be familiar with this, how they're trying to really shut down the encampments that are happening right now, move people. It is getting very hot in Phoenix, but just trying to clean up downtown Phoenix. And my student came up with this brilliant solution of creating a holistic program to support people experiencing homelessness. And because she's a crisis worker, she had this really great idea of assigning individuals to a case manager. I couldn't believe this wasn't already happening. But and again, this is very verbose, so it's in the PDF if you want to read through this. But just, I thought it was so innovative to have the client participate with the case manager and solving the issue and stepping up and away from services to transition into progress. So anyway, that's the first one. The second one, and again, the project is called Be the Change You Wish to See, in Yavapai County, which is not Maricopa, Phoenix. It's a more rural county where my college is located near. It's a very diverse county. I can talk to you more about that in the chat a little bit later, discussion portion. But we have a huge problem with fentanyl. I don't know if this is happening in your communities as well. What's happening in our area, pressed pills are a real problem, meaning that they look like prescription drugs. Some of them look like candy. And this student was actually coming up with in our area, if any of you are familiar with Prescott, Yavapai County, we are a huge treatment facility mecca. And I had never thought of this idea before, but he said rather than having so many facilities, we should really focus our energies on a few that are really good. And he also brought to my attention this new, I don't know if any of you have heard of this, Mind 24/7. It's like the Walgreens of behavioral health. And it started in Scottsdale. It's 24/7, and anyone can come in the midst of a behavioral health crisis and receive services. They also, oh, my timer just went off. Sorry. I was trying to time myself to keep it short.
Okay. That's okay.
And I started late. I'm really sorry.
No,
but
okay.
this, I just thought it was so brilliant what he came up with here. And it was exactly along the lines of triangles and goodwill. This last, in summary, when we look to our neighbors as part of the greater community, change can be enacted. Now, what I told each of these students in their feedback, and all of them, I mean, I had 25 students who had brilliant ideas. This is something that has been manifesting in my life. And I think that's why it really resonated. You have a great idea as an individual. And what I've even started saying to my colleagues is you need a triangle. You need a third. During our conference presentations, this question came up, what is a group? And I'm like, I know that, I'm a sociologist. The smallest group we study is actually a dyad, two people. It's the smallest unit of analysis, but it's inherently the most unstable because you have one person who quits the group and you don't have a group. So triangles, it's kind of brilliant how it's a very stable small unit of analysis, small group, because you can always, it's a sustainable building block. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, those of you who are in triangles. I was in my very first one, I met my people on this webinar. I didn't connect regularly with my triangles members, and finally I'm like, wow, I should probably email them. And one of them, it took probably a month for her to get back and say, she'd moved on. And it's very easy to lose sight unless you can connect up with your other triangle members. And the great thing about a triangle, a triad, is that if one member falls away, you still have a dyad as long as both haven't fallen away. If you keep up with them, you can always find a third and keep going. So it is a sustainable building block, our building block of love, light, and will. And again, the message that I'm really trying to communicate with my students and colleagues and everybody is, you've got a great idea, you can't do it alone. Start with your dyad of someone who's like-minded, and then find a third. If you've got three, you can probably make things happen. So my questions, comments, impressions, I know I have to end, but maybe later on, if you want to chat about this, I'd love to know any impressions you have or feedback. And then also, how often do you check in with your triangle? I'm going to stop my share. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carly. That was really a great pep talk for triangles, really, really great. So thank you. And now, let's see. We'll welcome Sunny.
Hello, can you hear me all right?
Yes. Yeah. Hi, Sunny. Welcome.
I just want to thank Kathy for inviting me to speak to the Triangles group today on the value of triangles.
Well,
The
happy to
triangle
have you.
is
Happy to have you here. Very happy.
the triangle is the basic geometric form of all manifestation. It is to be seen underlying the entire fabric of creation, whether it is an expression of a solar system, a zodiacal round, in cosmic triplicities, or the tiny reflection of the divine triple whole called a human being. The entire cosmic web is an intricate, constantly moving, interwoven series of triangles, wherein each point of a triangle emanates 3 lines or streams of energy, responsive to and receptive of energies. The triangle concerns the beneficence of deity, where life energy streams forth from that which is greater into that which is lesser. Through the intricate combinations of cosmic, systemic, planetary, human, and the triangles we form together, the purposes of God are working out. Those purposes are motivated by love. It is through triangular relationships that love expresses itself. Love brings about the needed changes for each expression and ultimately brings human consciousness into the required state of inclusiveness. One of the most important triangular relationships holds a secret of divine purpose and planning. This is the triangular relationship found in the body of a cosmic Parabrahman between the 7 sisters of the Pleiades, the 7 rishis of the Great Bear, and through Sirius to the 7 sacred planets. From this cosmic triangle emanates 3 streams of energy, which pour into and throughout the planetary triangle of Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity. This relationship potentially affects every kingdom in nature. From the great cosmic triangle come effective conditioning results, which are present in this Aquarian world cycle and emphasize its effects in human consciousness. Potent good can come from this event for humans by a strenuous effort to be of aid in a practical and definite physical sense. Triangles units offer this aid through the daily practice of triangles. Triangles is related to the total expression of the divine triplicity of energy manifestation as will, love, and intelligence, or life, consciousness, and form. Where the human being is manifest, the triangle which symbolizes this appearance are the two eyes and the third eye. The left eye symbolizes the eye of mind, of common sense, of sight and intelligence. This is the eye of the mother, carrying light from the Pleiades. The right eye symbolizes the eye of buddhi, of wisdom, of vision and love. This is the eye of the sun, carrying light from Sirius. The eye of Shiva is the all-seeing eye, the eye which directs the will and purpose of deity. This is the eye of the father or monad, carrying light from the Great Bear. From the human angle, all that concerns humanity's development is expressed in terms of illumination and knowledge, in terms of sight and the entrance of light, which leads to revelation. The significance of this in the triangle's work is that the triangle's organism is concerned with the entrance of lighted energy into the darkened areas of human consciousness on our planet. Our Earth is in process of becoming a sacred planet. This means an interim of upheaval, chaos, and difficulty, where there is a transference out of the lower states of consciousness into a higher state. And as Kathy said earlier, at present, the etheric web of light is composed of a pattern of squares. This is slowly changing as the divine plan works out. The etheric web of the sacred planets is largely triangles. The effort on Earth today, as seen by the planetary logos, is to bring about transformation of the web of the planet and slowly change the existing squares into triangles. This is done by the creation of division within the square, dividing them in half, creating two triangles. This is thus the inner web of light, the etheric body of the planet, will become essentially triangles. When the evolutionary process going on today is completed, the creation of a fiery web of triangles will have been organized in this world period. The Lord of the world is releasing new energies into the form aspect, into the life and lives of the various kingdoms. Humanity, being the most developed, is the point of greatest response. Aggression, glamour, and greed will be transmuted and changed into the power to sacrifice, inclusive surrender, clear vision of the whole, and cooperation. Triangles units serve humanity through the fiery, radiatory living organism in a triangular web formation of light, love, and goodwill. Once fire has free passage along any triangular formation, it flows continuously, demonstrating differing radiations. This will bring about changes and alterations in human consciousness, ushering in an age of understanding, brotherhood, sharing, and illumination. Triangles is a hierarchical activity created by and close to the heart of hierarchy. Always preserved and recognizably present at the heart of each triangle is the transcendent point of synthesis, the Christ. The Christ told us, whenever two or more are gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst of them. Christ's presence within each triangle informs us that not only is his love here with us, but so are certain members of the hierarchy. They are continually approaching closer to Earth and humanity in this age. This infers the thought or mental attention of the Christ and certain of his disciples, focusing their directed attention toward human affairs. The presence of this transcendent heart contains the three aspects of life and the capacity to draw all things upward toward the source, participating in the plan of life on behalf of the logos of our planet. The purpose of Triangle's work is to subjectively create an atmosphere which etherically envelops humanity in light, love, and goodwill. Thus, a new living form can breathe and move and appear in the new age, embodying the divine plan. Energy is ever present, but it swings into activity vitally and energetically through the cooperative, self-sacrificing group work of Triangle's units in a divine way. This work affects the entire planet, for we are invoking and evoking the highest planetary center, Shambhala. In a spirit of goodwill, Triangle's units are agents entrusted with the direction of energies and consciously throwing our will on the side of evolution, aspiring to make life energies creatively constructive. By working in and through the Triangles network, we form representative channels of the great hierarchical tide of progressive energies pouring throughout our planet. There is no being on Earth, from the very lowest form of life to the very highest, who will not be affected by these energies, and thus move all onward and upward toward a greater and finer expression of divinity. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunny. That was really profound, and I'm sure we'll have to read that again. Really, really beautiful. And
Thank you.
I really like the way your presentation really complements so much what Carly said, because it's showing the maybe more vertical understanding of the work of triangles, but it's Carly's work and her presentation here today presented a beautiful complement with the horizontal line of what this work, how it transforms our planet. So Carly, can you unmute yourself as well? Let's see.
Yes, she gave a good idea of what that horizontal work is.
Yeah, and
It was really-
it's underlaid by her deep esoteric understanding. So Carly,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thanks. I was
Thank
so rushed. I'm really sorry if it was hard to
No.
follow.
No, it wasn't. It was
I'm
so
used to-
clear.
I'm used to speaking an hour and 15-minute increments. So
Yeah, no, you did good. You did good.
thank you.
So it's 4:00, and I know many people probably have to leave and have left, but we can take a few moments for sharing with the group. Anybody would like to raise their hand by clicking on the reactions button, or there are some comments in here. If anybody would like to read something and address something, or just share it with the group, either Sunny or Carly.
I'm busy trying to read everything right now. People had such terrific comments.
Yeah.
Matthew says that triangles is a way to focalize the three energies of light, love, and spiritual will into human minds, hearts, and wills through the connected three meditators. The triangle acts like a focalizing lens. Higher ideas, ideals, and values can also be shared with humanity through the triangle's meditation. Yes, it can.
I was just looking at Yvonne's comment about a core problem of homelessness as apartment owners. You know, that was something that a number of my students have focused on. And we're in Sedona. I mean, that's one of the communities in Yavapai County. And my students were telling me that their rents have gone up so much because the transition over the last couple of years, investors have come into Arizona and bought up the residential properties or rental properties and then turned them into Airbnbs. So
Yeah.
that's a huge problem right now, and in Phoenix as well. So it's apartment owners. Yeah, it's complicated for sure. But I find that starting with grassroots, individual people who are close to these problems have great solutions. We just need to give them the venue to share. And again, I think the model of triangles is a really good one. Find three others, because I find that when people practice it, even when I start saying we needed to find a third, it lays the groundwork for triangular thinking. So down the road, I think when they're exposed to triangles meditation, it's like, oh yeah, I've been doing that. So
Yeah.
practicing that already.
Yeah. Santana wrote that no one has mentioned that triangles was HPB's name for the soul. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And we have a Triangles member or a webinar member who has experienced and perhaps still experiences homelessness. So she wrote that the situation in Phoenix was particularly challenging. And I'm sure none of us can really know what it's like unless someone has experienced it directly, but we can certainly hope that our work together in triangles can aid in the resolution to this problem.
Yeah, I think just even modeling the goodwill, love, light, will, and encouraging that on all levels, it really goes a long way. And listening to those who do have solutions, finding a venue for them.
Yeah.
Daniel Eastman says these presentations help to describe how three people at different times and space visualize their creative beams of light in such a way to affect our planet. It's a good perspective.
Yeah. Well, do either of you, Sunny or Carly, have something you'd like to just share, a final point with the group?
I think so go ahead, Carly.
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say that, I thoroughly enjoy my own practice of triangles. I have a time each evening when I do it, and there is almost like a little vibration in the head when thinking of the other members. And so I feel that, we are, our heart center is connecting to them in a real way. And we're actually sensing each other's presence, whether we're in the same time, we're not in the same space or even maybe the same time, but it just feels as though those other points are there. And I feel those in a vibration.
Yeah.
That's such a beautiful sentiment. I could go on forever on tangents, but I think I'll just echo what you had to say, Sunny. And my latest triangle that I'm a part of, I actually formed with two people I presented at a conference, a previous conference. And so it's really powerful because you're so right. You really feel their presence and you're working on a purpose, if you will, together. And it's quite powerful. Not that working with people you don't know isn't also powerful, but there's a really profound connection when you do know the people that you're in a triangle with.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's some very interesting quotes from Yadelsi, which thank you so
Mhm.
much, Yadelsi, for
Mhm.
typing those in, on the etheric vehicle and telepathy, as that's what triangles is all about, right? You know, using that etheric to make it responsive to higher soulful energies rather than the energies of the lower centers. So thank you, Yadelsi, and thank you, Carly and Sunny, so much, and all of the participants today.
Thank you
So,
for
Thank you,
asking.
Kathy.
yeah, of
Thank you for
course,
asking.
of course. So let's just take a moment to visualize the planet surrounded by a network of triangles. Om. Thank you again.